Stu here with Raid Shadow Legends. I'm back in my YouTube business attire. Let's get into this really quick. Let's get into the defense masteries. We just went over the offense masteries the other day. Let's see what we have for defense. Make this fast. Tough skin plus 75 to defense. We have Defiant plus 10% resistance. Now what you should pick, I would go for the defense plus 75 as opposed to the resistance plus 10, depending on what you have. If you have high resistance and you need a little bit more because you're doing something special, like trying not to take poison from the little spiders that attack you all the time, okay, do that. But really, most of the time, if you have low resistance and you don't have much resistance at all, just go for the additional defense. Get that little bit more mitigation from damage. You'll be good to go. Blast proof, decreased damage received from AoEs by 5%. I like this one. This one could play a big part in a lot of things. PvP very much, and then anything else you need to lower your damage from AoE. Increase the amount, which are bosses everywhere. Increase the amount of healing and value of shield buffs this champion receives by 5%. I don't feel rejuvenation is that important to have. It's okay, but that 5% is not going to make or break anybody, I don't feel. And then we have Mighty Endurance. Decrease the damage received by 10% when this champion has a stun, sleep, or freeze debuff on them. If you're stunned or frozen in PvP, you're probably going to die. Probably, right? And where else would you be stunned or frozen or slept? Not very many places, right? Not very many places at all. So I know lately I've been slept in the spider when the mama spider does her turn reduction in her AoE. But anyways, let's move on to other things. I don't see a lot of play for that one. Improved parry. Decrease the damage received by this champion by 8% when they're hit with a critical hit. This one's nice. You get hit with a critical hit a lot, especially in PvP. Again, another good one for PvP. 8% plus 5%. That's a total of 12%. If it's an AoE and a critical, even from bosses, that could add up to quite a lot. So if I have a person that's pretty weak, dying a lot to something like that, I'm going to have to definitely try out the defense tree, because really I've only tried it one time on Rosin Scarhide and gone pretty deep into it, played around with it for a little while, but I haven't really done a lot with it. This one also is pretty cool. Heals the champion by 6% of their max HP each time an enemy is healed occurs once a turn. So if you have somebody really fast, it can occur more than that if the other team is healing often. The Fire Knight boss always heals every time they take a turn. PvP, people heal a lot, have heals over time. This could be really handy. Resurgent has a 50% chance to remove one random debuff from this champion when they lose 25% of their max health. This is what I used in Clan Boss for defense to try it out on Rosin Scarhide. So who else did I? Oh no, I tried it on somebody else too. My middle person who was always getting stunned. Say you had this on Terrell, right? So you have it on Terrell. He gets stunned. He has a chance to remove that debuff and break out of that stun, because whenever the boss does a single target hit, and it's only going to take a couple minutes for you to get into that fight with that clan boss before it's doing that much damage. Also, this could be really good for PvP. You take massive damage in PvP. You definitely take 25% of your max HP, and you could remove a stun. You can remove anything, whatever's on you. A stun, a freeze, a decreased defense. There could be a lot of things that could actually be really handy to have. So I like that one as well. Bloodthirst heals the champion by 10% of their max HP when they kill an enemy target. Cooldown 1 turn. I like this. If you are new or coming up in the game mid-game and you just went into Minnow just to get a few scrolls, not to get a lot, just to get a few, just to boost your champion, your main farmer, get this one. This one will help you out a lot. You might want to reset later on, but as far as coming up in the game, you have your lifesteal farmer, you're trying to get through campaign and 3-star it. You're trying to use 2 guys because you have to use, you can only use 2 to 3-star a lot of the campaign. So this would really help out. It gives you those heals you need to help you out. What else do we have? Wisdom of Battle has a 30% chance to place a block debuffs buff on this champion for 1 turn when they come out, when it expires, when a sleep, stun, or freeze expires. So when you're under a stun or a freeze, and I think it's sleep too, I can't remember sleep, you don't lower your cooldown. So if you're at a 2 cooldowns to come out of your whatever skill you're using, it will not lower it, which kind of is really harsh. So also, it says when expires. So it could expire can be when you remove it as well. So if you do have somebody to remove it, they do put a block. You have a 30% chance only to put a block debuffs. I don't really like this one. I don't think this one is that good. And then we have Solidarity. Increase ally resistance by 5% for each buff placed on them by this champion. So it has to be by that champion. So it has to be a champion that does buffs. So we need somebody that does a lot of buffs. I don't know anybody who does a tremendous amount of buffs all the time. So I don't know how handy this is. Most of them give you +2. They might give you Reflect and then an HP shield. Then you're going to get 10% resistance. Is it really that good? I mean, you can get it from banners, you can get it from substats, you can get it from artifact sets. I don't really see that one being that great. So we have delayed death. Reduce the damage that this person receives by 0.75%, and then a total of 6% total. So you have to get hit 8 times, and then you're at a 6% reduction in damage from taking the hits from them. 8 times you have to get hit. If you have a tank or somebody who's taunting her a lot, or somebody who's really taking it, getting hit a lot, this could be cool. Maybe if they're getting hit that often. So I don't know. Again, it's pretty situational. I don't know where I'm going to use this one at a lot. And then we have Harvest Despair. Has a 60% chance to place a leech debuff for 1 turn whenever you place a sleep, stun, or freeze. Now I've seen people try to use this before on Doom Priest or something like that, who could remove a debuff, and instead you want to make sure she tries to remove the leech instead of the freeze in PvP. Again, this is pretty situational. If you have somebody that's really doing a lot of stuns, sleeps, or freezes, then you can try to get a leech up. Maybe it'd be cool with my armor sets of my freeze artifact sets that I'm using to get through waves. Not freeze, I'm sorry, stuns. And then I stun them and also get a leech up to help out my team. Could work. Could be pretty cool actually for that. Maybe. I'll have to try that out. What was that under? Okay, that was stubborn. Stubbornness is next to the increase. Is that right? Yes. So stubbornness is next. Increase resistance by 10% for each debuff on the champion. Stacks up to 30. 30 is nice. 30 is really nice, but you're going to have 3 debuffs on. Where do we get a lot of debuffs? Dragons, when the dragon exhales, gives us poisons, gives us stuns. Is it really going to matter that much there? I don't know. Spiderlings, when they hit you, just doesn't seem that great. I like the defensive tree. I just wish they would kind of go back and maybe balance it a little bit. I think there are a lot of cool things in here, and people do use it. There's no doubt in that. But I do think that, especially for tier 6, that they should. But let's go ahead. We'll get into that later on. Let's get through this video. Selfless Defender. I actually think this one is pretty cool. And if anybody's used it, please tell me how it was like. Now remember, a lot of our viewers read your comments as well, so you're helping me out because I read them. You're helping them out as well. Decrease damage an ally receives from the first enemy hit in each round by 20%. So it's only the enemy that hits them for the first time. First enemy hit in each round, this champion will receive that damage instead. That's pretty cool. Now what if it's an AoE? If there's an AoE and it hits all your allies, will you take all that damage, 20% for each? Because that could be a lot. That could be a really lot. But this could actually help for me to put it on somebody like Seducer or anybody else that I have a lot of HP with, or defense as well, that just ones they're not targeting, right? In waves, put it on them, the Seducers, because I know that my Cold Heart's going to get hit all the time and take the damage as long as they're focusing her right away each round. That could help out. Could help out a lot, because we always have hard times that very first initial start of that wave when they're all getting ready to attack, unless we have them under control, unless we get the provokes up, unless we get the stuns downs. That could be really good. Let me know your experience with it. That was called the Selfless Defender. So I really want to know about it. It looks really good for that. So we have Cycle of Revenge. Has a 50% chance to increase the turn meter by 15% when an ally is attacked with a critical hit. Will only increase the turn meter once if an ally receives multiple critical hits from a single skill. So anytime they're hit with a critical hit. That could be pretty cool. We're getting critical hit a lot in PvP. As long as you can survive, this would get a turn meter increase, because a lot of people are getting hit with critical hits there. Other places as well, it could be interesting to have this. Maybe on my Apothecary. I always go for support to increase my speed buff, to try to make it a 3-turn instead of a 2-turn. But maybe if people are taking enough critical hits, I have a 50% chance to increase my turn meter. I could get back around to my skills faster. Pretty situational, but maybe good. Now I've used this one in... I've used these two down here with Rosin Scarhide and the clan boss to try him out with Retribution and Deterrence. I actually did a video on it. So 50% chance to counter when this ally... When this champion loses 25% of their max HP or more from a single enemy skill, which will happen in clan boss over time pretty often. And he did okay with counterattacks. And then as well as this one, 20% to counterattack an enemy when an ally is stunned, slept, or frozen. So whoever my lead person was on clan boss that was getting stunned all the time after taking those AoE hits, Rosin had a chance to counterattack back. It was okay. It was pretty interesting. It wasn't that bad at all. If you're not going to go support, definitely pick these two up for clan boss if you don't need the support tree. That way to help you do a little bit more counterattacks, especially during the time when the boss isn't doing those AoEs. So then we have, so that was Deterrence, and this was Retribution. Both pretty cool. Let's get into the 6th tier. So this is the 6th tier. Plus 20 defense. Doesn't really help out that much. I don't know. I don't really think, as far as getting the offense masteries, compared to the defense masteries, the 6, because we only get one pick of the 6. That's it. We only get one of these, one pick of these. I don't think that the defense is worth it. Decrease the damage of all hours received by 5%. This champion will receive that damage instead. This actually is pretty cool. I wish they'd increase this a little bit to make it more favorable compared to other stuff. If they increase it to 10%, I think that could be a lot. That could be a lot. This one, I wish they'd move it up a tier to tier 5. Increase the chance of placing a stun, freeze, or sleep, or even a provoke debuff from skills or artifacts by 5%. Now, if your skill isn't 100%, this is handy. If you're using artifacts, this is really handy. Take the stun artifacts from, what, 18% to 23%? Would be really cool. Not way down here, though, in tier 6. If it was up here at tier 5, I'm all for it. I think there would be a lot more use for it then, and I think people would really use it. So let's go on to the next one. Unshakable. And then this is it. We're done. Resistance plus 50. I think if this is resistance plus 100, people might not, people probably still are going to use it. If you want to get your resistance, you're going to get it from other avenues. You're not going to wait. You're not going to go all the way down into tier 6 and waste that when you could pick these other 3, or these other ones in support, or these other ones in offense. You're not gonna go down here and get that, because you can get resistance from banners, you can get resistance from substats, you can get resistance from artifact sets. There is no reason to come in here and get plus 50 resistance. I feel like that would be a super waste of your masteries to do that. So what do you guys think? What do you think are the best? This one is great. You lower the damage. You lower the damage again. You can get some heals if the other team is healing. You can do, remove debuffs. You can do the retribution and the deterrence. You can do, I want to know about this one, how well this one works. I'm going to have to test this out myself as well. Put it on somebody that's tanky and try to protect the person that's always getting hit each wave right away. Would this one really work? Let me know, guys. Please let me know in the description below if you've really used this one a lot and it's been working out for you. And as far as anything else, I don't know. Let me know. I haven't used them enough to really know 100%. But again, your comments help me. That way I can relay that information to everybody out there. And also the viewers read your comments as well. So that's all I've got for defense. We have support. This is the last thing we need to go over. We've done offense on the last video. And I will see you guys in a future video shortly. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.